A martini, shaken, not stirred.
I don't know how to put this, but I'm kind of a big deal.
Houston, we have a problem.
Do or do not. There is no try.
Nobody puts baby in a corner.
You're gonna need a bigger boat.
Keep your friends close, but your enemies closer.
I'm your #1 fan.
And here we go.
Welcome to another edition of the Cine-Men movie podcast. I am Juan, your host, and I am joined alongside here with Zachary.
What's going on, guys?
Eduardo.
Hey, what's up, folks?
And we are back and fresh after a whole new week. Feels like we haven't done this in years. I don't know about you guys. Zach, how are you guys doing?
Yeah, it's been a while. I mean,
it's been 7 days.
7 days.
I guess.
Did you watch the Ring video or something?
No.
Oh.
You know he did. Don't let him lie.
I am happy. It is a special Monday, great Monday here, as we're talking Taken from 2008. How excited are you guys to be taken back? Is what I did there to 2008.
Bingo.
Certainly, a lot of people have said that this movie has definitely been like memed the hell out. Zach, you kind of stay off social media. What do you want to turn that son of a bitch off? Zach, what do you do whenever you want to laugh? Have you ever thought about maybe getting one kind of social media or anything?
I mean, I've thought about it. Like, I thought about at least getting back on Facebook at least. But like
how do you stay in contact with family?
I don't. Well, I mean, like my immediate family is just so little. It's just like, and then we don't really have anyone out of state per se, and so we're just like, I'm just like, okay, well, we'll hear from when somebody dies, which is sad, but it's true.
Well, hey, it's definitely different. I like talking to you sometimes about that stuff because
it's just like
we're in a social media driven world that is actually kind of nice to talk to somebody who stays off of it.
Right. I feel like I'm just like one of those guys that live under a rock or something.
You're unique. It's okay.
By the way, anybody listening out there, Zach is actually 94 years old.
I am actually, yeah.
He's got the Benjamin Button disease.
I do. There you go. No, I just I know you guys are on it. Do you guys have all of them or just a couple of them?
I've got quite a few.
Thanks to the podcast, I have all of them.
Well, and
you're not missing much.
I mean, what draws you to without if you weren't doing the podcast, what draws you to?
I would probably just have Facebook, and I mean, probably looking at news feeds, or I mean, honestly, just with Facebook, I don't even have to watch like news or TV anymore. I keep up with everything just through the news feeds. Ed, what about you?
Predominantly friends.
I didn't know you had friends.
Oh, not really.
We were your friends.
I just wanted to sound like I had a life.
Oh.
I really don't.
Drop the sponge there.
I go onto a few different things every now and then just to have a little fun. I mean, you can go onto Reddit and different things like that under different pseudonyms and yeah.
Like back in the day, you'd probably have to maybe buy the newspaper.
We still get the newspaper,
or
honestly. But I mean, it's just so paper thin now.
Yeah.
There's barely anything in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, some of the stores I've worked at, even the store I work at now, we sell newspapers, but I hardly sell any of them.
Is it just the Oklahoman or just a couple other ones?
Just the Oklahoman.
Okay.
I mean, my location sells them hard.
Really?
We actually don't get enough for that matter.
Nice.
So. I mean, it's here and there, but I mean, don't get me wrong. Most of the people who buy it are at least 50 years of age and older, so it just depends.
But yeah, today we are talking Taken from 2008. This is one of those movies that I feel like not only is it we're literally, I think tomorrow is the anniversary date of when this was in theaters. It's not like a 20th or a 10-year anniversary, but I mean, it's still
12.
Yeah, it's
12
still
years.
Still there. And it did come out in the States at least January the 30th, which is just a few days away. So I'm kind of excited to talk about it just a little bit. It's one of those movies that I feel like has kind of gotten forgotten about at how good of an action movie it is compared to just
Like
the
you
memes.
said, yeah, like you said, it's kind of the Sixth Sense phenomenon where it was so huge, but everyone's kind of made fun of it now.
Yeah.
You know.
But a quick note. Yesterday the NBA lost its legend. It's our era's Michael Jordan, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
So thoughts go out to everybody who's involved and in that crash, including Kobe Bryant, his daughter. So sad deal, and kind of a emotional kind of day for everybody, I guess.
Well, and kind of going back to the social media conversation, is that how you guys heard about it, or did you guys hear about it on the TV?
Actually, I heard about it through
social media
my
for
wife.
me.
So
Your wife.
I think she said she looked at it on TV. So yeah,
that was one of those. This is one of those situations where kind of like the passing of Heath Ledger or Paul Walker, like you hear about it and you're like, wait, that's got to be some kind of like prank or something.
Well, see, that's what I was talking to Ed about earlier. I'm like, I think it's the day and age that you find out about something like that, and you're like, oh, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
10 years ago, Heath Ledger or, Paul Walker I found on his Facebook as well, but Heath Ledger, I didn't have a Facebook in 2007 or 2008,
Or Michael Jackson when he died. That was that was a big one. That was kind of social media was around, but like it was predominantly on the television.
That's true.
What I remember about it.
Maybe it's because it's on social media, but Kobe Bryant seems like it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, with that, so many, because he played for 20 plus, about 20
like 20,
seasons.
21 years.
Yeah. And I mean, he was one of the last people drafted out of straight from high school and, became one of the greatest of all
LeBron,
time, literally.
Almost 10 years later, LeBron was the last one to do it, so.
Right. Yeah. One of basically, everybody thought it was a big hoax because LeBron James had just broken his record.
The night before.
Past him, his record for points, all-time points score.
Well,
so,
Kobe went on Twitter and it was just like, hey, thanks for continuing the game.
Yeah. But I mean, so I was like, no, that's what I even told my wife. I was like, no, that's just a hoax. Since he broke his record, spot yesterday, I was like, it's just a hoax. And she's like, no, LA police confirmed helicopter crash. And I knew there was times where he'd use a helicopter to go to practices and games, but this was where he was going to his daughter's game, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So the two younger girls that were on that plane were actually teammates, and yeah. So tough day for those families, and yeah.
Well, and it was just like, they had the Grammys was last night. It was at the Staples Center, and it was just, I only watched like the first 10 minutes of it, but it was
I heard it
was every chance
terrible.
they got. Every chance they got, they brought it up. I was like, guys, let's, which I mean, and that,
not the mentioning that I thought was terrible. I heard that the show itself was.
Oh, I don't know. I did the first 10 minutes. I was like, I'm done.
I know Billie Eilish walked away with a lot of
She
hardware.
walked away huge.
She was the first woman in history to make the Big Four sweep. That is best newcomer, best song, best
album,
record, and best album.
Mm-hmm.
And she walked away with all of them. Plus,
one of the last few people who actually write their own shit, so she probably deserves it.
Well,
I mean,
it's her and her brother who write the songs.
Yeah.
But the last time that happened was almost 40 years ago, and it's only happened one time in history.
And she is actually doing the new 007 theme song.
Speaking of James Bond, let's get on to some good cookies. Some stuff I found out. Zach, I shared with you, and then I shared with Edge. See what's on my mind.
The Edge.
You saw last week. I shared with Edge. Here we go again. Ed, that James Bond No Time to Die is 3 hours.
Yeah.
2 hours and 54 minutes. It kind of turned me off a little bit. I don't know why, but maybe it's excuse me. I rewatched Casino Royale. We'll get into that in recent watches, but I kind of feel like that might be a little too much. I really hope the pacing is good, or else I bet I'm gonna have to go in with a full 10 hours of sleep, or I'm gonna pass out.
Is this gonna be a 1917 situation?
I hope not.
Well, I mean, I think so. This is the last one of his era,
And
isn't it?
I think that's the reason why it's so long.
That's what I was about to say.
But if they don't go together, if this, say the next Bond series has just a whole new James Bond in it,
yeah.
why does it have to be 3 hours? Because, it's not like Pierce Brosnan's last movie was 3 hours and he died and now Daniel Craig is here. It's, you know what I mean?
Right, but I mean, like, and I can't really talk about it without getting into spoilers. I'll just say that one character, and there's a character in Spectre that says, I've been there for all the trauma that you've suffered. Unless there's something more to that leads into Rami Malek's character in No Time to Die. That's the only way it could probably wrap everything up. So.
But before we get ready to talk about some of the box office news with Ed here in a little bit, I do want to say that you guys, did you check any new trailers? Any new trailers that kind of spawned upon you? Or I know most of them are probably going to be kept for the Super Bowl Sunday, and we'll throw out some game picks a little bit later on.
No, nothing. There was nothing that came out that I was interested in.
Super excited about.
Yeah.
I will say I think No Time to Die might get a trailer during the Super Bowl, a new one.
Mm-hmm. And supposedly, is it this week or next week?
It's Sunday.
Well, no, not the Super Bowl, but they're supposed to release the trailer to Fast and Furious 9, supposedly, which I know you guys are super excited about.
It might be. They might. With how interested people are, they might do it on Sunday.
I think we should have stopped at 7, but all right.
I think they should have stopped at 3, to be honest with you. But Ed, let's talk about what's hitting us hard at the box office this weekend. Is Bad Boys still number 1, and where is Star Wars? So let's start off with number 5. So
the weekend of January 24th through 26th of 2020, Bad Boys is actually still on top with 34 million. So that's its second week of release right there. And basically, it's still on top. So, great. Alright, so that is 1917 coming in at number 2 with $15.9 million. At number 3, and it's been out for 5 weeks, number 3 is Doolittle, the Robert Downey Jr. Dr. Doolittle film. So it's been released for 2 weeks, and that has been $12.2 million. And then number 4 is coming in with The Gentleman. This is its first weekend release. That is $10.7 million.
probably gonna go see that this weekend.
And then the final one that has been out for 7 weeks so far is Jumanji: The Next Level. That's $7.7 million. So that brings
So you changed it up on us. You went from 1 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a little reverse action. But yeah, that is for the weekend of the 24th through the 26th of January 2020.
And I think Star Wars fell to number 7, number 8, or something like that.
I'm excited for The Gentleman. I really want to see that movie. I didn't know this was the opening weekend of it, or I probably would have went and saw it Sunday. But I'm excited. I want to see that one. I don't know how you are about Guy Ritchie films. It's kind of weird that he did Aladdin.
Yeah.
I was expecting, if Guy Ritchie really did Aladdin, his genie probably would have been Jason Statham.
Oh my god. That'd be funny.
But no, let's get into some recent watches. Anybody, Zach? We'll start with you. You check anything out fun this weekend?
No, it's been a very low weekend. The only thing I binged watched the final season of The Ranch on Netflix. I did the first 5 episodes and
was that put out by Hidden Valley?
No.
Oh.
No, it's the Ashton Kutcher, Sam Elliott TV show. I think it had a really good final season. It wrapped everything up in a very good way, and it's always sad to watch the final episode of a TV show. It's just oh, that's it, that's over. Now we can just move on. But yeah, that's the only thing I've watched.
Kind of those are rookie numbers, Zach.
Yeah.
Ed, what about you? You check anything out?
Just a couple things. So I got to check out an episode of Sabrina, the new one. Little dark.
I've heard that's dark as hell.
What is that on?
Netflix, yes. Got to check that out. And then basically I finished up The Witcher and actually went Well, I went a little older of usually what I used to I do, but Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle. Love that movie. It's hilarious as hell. And then I even checked out Charlie and the Chocolate Factory again Saturday night. Just kind of random. Both Charlie and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory are on Netflix at the moment. So
Oh, nice.
That's always nice.
So you Netflixed and chilled over the weekend.
Basically. So yeah. That kind of rewatch. I know you're gonna hate this, but rewatching my good old standard favorite.
Me this kind of week was a little started off slow for me. Like I said, I ended up checking out Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, and I thought it was actually pretty good. And I know you like a lot of Jay and Silent Bob movies, and
yeah,
if I had to, I would honestly I'd put it in the top 5 as far as like most of the Jay and Silent Bob movies.
Yeah.
It was a little quirky, little cheesy, but
that's what I've heard.
It actually had it had a small decent story to it. It was nice. Jason Mewes aged bad. I'll put that. He's
had a lot of drugs.
I feel like he's got dentures the way his lips move.
I think he's got some replacement.
He looked pretty bad, but Kevin Smith looked good. I'm excited to see what he might do later on.
Oh, after having a heart attack, you lose all that weight, and
well, I mean, Kevin Smith's a lot of the reason Jason Mewes is probably still alive.
And then I checked out the Beverly Hills Cop trilogy. I think I finished 1 and 2. Transfers look pretty good compared to this is the first time Beverly Hills Cop 2 and 3 are on Blu-ray. And then the Addams Family was a big letdown.
Oh no,
I hated it.
I hated
it.
That would have made your worst of the year.
Maybe.
Is it Did you like it worse than Missing Link?
How about Abominable?
I haven't seen Abominable. I actually heard Abominable was okay. If I had to, I would probably choose. I'd probably choose the Addams Family over Missing Link. Then I checked out the extended version of Casino Royale, and it was pretty good.
How much longer is that one?
I think it's like an extra 8 minutes.
Oh,
it's not too bad.
No.
But some of the scenes a little bit darker. And then I was really excited about this movie because it stars Adam Driver and Bill Murray. The Dead Don't Die. Man, I was disappointed in that. It was, how do you make Bill Murray not funny?
It's pretty hard to do.
Yeah. I understand it's a dark comedy, but like I probably chuckled once or twice. Other than that, like, it wasn't amusing at all to me. The ending was disappointing. But you have a cast like Bill Murray, Steve Buscemi, Raza, Adam Driver, and Danny Glover, and Selena Gomez, and it was all downhill. So, and then I checked out Taken for this week's episode. But I'm kind of excited to see Black and Blue. Yeah. That looks pretty good. And then Parasite hits tomorrow, which should be fun.
You're gonna get that one, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some pretty interesting emails that are talking about Parasite.
Jim hated.
No, Gemini Man might take a back seat. I don't know yet. I might throw up a poll.
Okay.
But yeah. So, anybody else have anything to add?
Ed, I did something else I did watch. I did finish watching The Witcher.
What do you guys think?
Yeah. I liked it.
So far, yeah.
I mean, the ending of it basically obviously set it up for season 2, but
Season 2 apparently is not coming until 2021, so it's got a bit of a ways. However,
it's always the worst when you binge watch something. It's like, oh, it won't come back for like 2 years.
However, I think like Stranger Things is gonna be early next year, 2021, or late this year, one of the two.
Mm-hmm.
But my good old standby is actually coming out with 2 new seasons this year. So, hey.
So, Zach, you're gonna talk 4 things you didn't know right after this, but right now let's go ahead and talk our top 5. So why not put a gag on, tie yourself up, and let's get kidnapped? Because we're talking our top 5 abduction/kidnap movies. Since it's a little themed that we're talking Taken today. So I don't have that many honorable mentions. Zach, do you have any?
No.
I'm just going to throw it out there because I thought it was pretty funny that it's technically an abduction movie, and I'm going to talk The Marine, starring John Cena.
How many of those movies are there? There's like 4 or 5, right?
There's like 6 or 7.
Enough to go ahead and challenge the Fast and the Furious.
Yeah.
Some of them actually might be better than the Fast and the Furious movies.
Oh, I said challenge, not overdue.
But so I think it's a little entertaining as far as the first one goes. But I'll throw that in there for shits and giggles. Zach, what do you got at number 5?
Number 5 for me is a film that I think it's pretty much been lost in this actor's filmography. Directed by Tony Scott. This is Man on Fire with Denzel Washington, Dakota Fanning. Just a very gritty, in-your-face type of kidnapping film. And basically it's about a bodyguard that doesn't like kids, and yet he's got to go after Dakota Fanning that's been kidnapped.
Yeah.
Very, very, very underrated film.
That goes in with my number 5, because my number 5 is Man on Fire. How badass is Denzel Washington in that movie, though?
He's awesome.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah, I forget he's even in there.
Yeah.
Isn't
Mark Anthony.
Yeah.
Mark Anthony's
he plays
the dad
or something. Yeah.
And they get busted up with the is it like the cartel or something like that?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Or crime syndicate or something.
When I first watched that movie, like years after it came out, I literally thought that Dakota Fanning was going to die at the end of the movie.
Yeah, so did I.
Looking back at it now, would you ever have thought that 10 years later, Ellie Fanning is the more popular and the more...
Yeah, I think she's well known.
Yeah, she's getting more jobs now.
Well, I think Dakota kind of took like a back seat because, she had hit after hit after hit. And then now I think she went back to school, and she was in Once Upon a Time last
very
year.
Small,
but but yeah, I agree. I think Elle kind of took the spotlight.
Yeah, she's had like the last 4 or 5 movies she's in. She's been excellent.
Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, that matches up with my number 5 as well. Man on Fire. Ed, what do you got at 5?
Number 5, I'm going to put Saw, the original, actually. I mean, technically, they both were actually kidnapped. And, I mean, we've actually done a full episode on Saw, so you can go ahead and go review that and go from there. So, yeah, fun times. Cut your own foot off, and, yeah.
Have a jolly time.
Zach, what do you got at number 4?
Number 4 is Ben Affleck's Gone Baby Gone. Honestly, I haven't seen this movie in a while, but I just remember being like very like another in your face. This is how it's gonna be, and I think Casey Affleck and Michelle Monaghan. It's an all-star cast: Michelle Monaghan, Ed Harris, Morgan Freeman. Just a very twisty turning. You really don't know what's gonna happen next.
Gone Baby Gone.
Yeah, directed by Ben Affleck, and kind of cemented him as being a director, more of an actor.
Excellent movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My number 4 is going to be Prisoners from 2013, starring Hugh Jackman, Jake Gyllenhaal, Viola Davis, Terrence Howard. And I have to say, Hugh Jackman in this movie,
he's brutal.
Yeah, it amazes me how good both him and Jake Gyllenhaal are in this movie. But the person for me that I really enjoyed was Paul Dano.
Man, you just wanted to hate the fuck out of him.
You wanted to be in there with Hugh Jackman and be like, let me get some licks on him.
Right.
Because it was bad. And then the ending of the movie, you're still just like, what happens?
Is it not? Yeah.
This movie got lost in the shuffle.
Yeah. And that was one that like I thought would have been a big awards contender.
No.
It wasn't nothing.
People even, when I mentioned, hey, have you heard about Prisoners? Some people were like, never even heard of it. Ed, do you know you know anything about Prisoners? Look at this. and he's a Jake Gyllenhaal fan.
I think you would like that, Ed.
Like, how is this movie not known? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
how did he get lost in the shuffle?
Well, the funny thing is that it came out either the same week or the week before Gravity, and Gravity was just like a huge like.
It came out in September. You know, Gravity was not as good as
October.
people think it was.
Yeah. Well, the funny thing is that I went and saw Gravity, and my mom went and saw Prisoners, and we kind of met up at the end. It was like she asked me how Gravity was. I was like, yeah, it was cool. You know, the visuals are incredible. You should see it like on a big screen. And my mom said, I asked her how a Prisoner was. I was like, I was scared. I was scared through the whole entire film.
Yeah, it's one of those movies that you're just like guessing the entire time she gets abducted, and then you're like, the thing about this movie to me, what makes it so good is it's so fucking real.
Mm-hmm.
This stuff can happen. And then like when I watched it the second or third time around, after having a daughter,
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the edge of my seat even more because I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean?
That
It's tough.
that might deserve an episode. Like I've been wanting to rewatch it actually.
Yeah. Ed, what do you got number 4? Sorry, we're over here spewing about Prisoners.
No, you're good. You're good. I mean, I ain't mad at you. Let's see. Crap. Panic Room. That one. You'd think that maybe if you had security systems and all that, and cameras lining your house and everything, you'd be able to do good, and and all that. But I mean, this one is basically a movie that they've actually built kind of a fortress inside of their own house, or a sanctuary, if you will. And basically, home invasion happens, and they're trying to get what is inside the room, which I don't think was actually, if I'm not mistaken, it's been a little bit since I've seen it. If I'm not mistaken,
Bacon bits were in the room.
The wife and daughter did not know shit about what was secretly hidden in there.
I've actually never seen Panic Room.
Really? It's
Yeah.
David Fincher.
Yeah.
It's got Jared Leto in it, actually, a while back for that.
And a very
Forrest
a very-
Whitaker and
a very boyish Kristen Stewart.
and Dwight Yoakam.
Yeah. Jodie Foster is the main
Yes.
actress.
But yeah, it's back in 2002. So
That really?
yeah.
I actually almost picked it up today. So
I
it's funny you said that.
I definitely would recommend that. I mean, honestly, it's a good movie.
I haven't seen it in forever.
A lot of suspension, a lot of tension, keeps you on the edge
Suspension.
of your seat. Are they going to break in the room? They're not. Oh, okay, this way. Oh, well, oh, no. Well, it keeps you guessing a lot. So I thought it was great.
Zach, what do you got at number 3? Number Trace.
Trace.
Oh, okay. Number 3, I have 2017's All the Money in the World.
Oh, nice.
Directed by Ridley Scott.
Starring
Mark Wahlberg. What would have been Kevin Spacey, but Christopher Plummer was recast in the role, and Michelle Williams.
That would have been so badass.
I would have liked to
Kevin
have seen that
Spacey.
copy of that version of that film.
Yeah. Did they shoot it with him in it?
Mm-hmm.
They did.
They shot the entire film, and then like in the 2 weeks before it was released, they reshot it with Christopher Plummer.
That's why you don't hear about it.
Yeah. Well, he was nominated for an Oscar for that movie.
Plummer?
Yeah. He's incredible in
I bet
that
if
movie.
it was Spacey, without any of the allegations, he probably would have won it.
Yeah. But it's all about the Getty kidnapping and how basically someone as rich as John Paul Getty said, like, you know what? It's my money. I can do whatever the fuck I want, and I'm not paying the ransom. And so basically, Michelle Williams, who plays the mom, hires Mark Wahlberg to try and basically find him.
And that would have been a movie, like, I feel like that's the reason it didn't hardly get a lot of recognition.
Was the Kevin Spacey?
Yeah. But, like, because nowadays, if you hear Michelle Williams is involved, like, nowadays it's almost like Oscar buzz.
Yeah.
She's another one who's just, like, fucking on fire.
Yeah.
Whatever she touches turns to gold.
Yeah.
My number 3 is going to be, Zach, no matter how much you say as far as it being overrated, go fuck yourself. Fargo. There he goes.
It's fine.
Fargo from 1996. I think this is one of the best movies that I've ever seen. It'd be interesting to see where it goes in my top 10. But I think that it's like, even lately when I've seen it, I think I saw it like a few months ago, and I talked about it on the episode during recent watches. Like, I'm still like intrigued with it. Like, oh, you should have done this, you should have done that. But I think it's just, I think
it's the mythology of the world.
It's also funny because it's one of those that the husband created upon himself. You know,
Right.
he hires the people to kidnap his own wife. You ever seen Fargo, Ed?
I have not.
We'll check it out this year.
I've seen. I like the TV. Have you seen the TV show?
I haven't. Everybody tells me I need to see the TV show.
Yeah.
So I love the movie.
And Chris Rock's actually going to be in the new season.
Turn me off right there.
Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
Frances McDormand though, like wow, and then the guy who plays her husband, even though he's in it for just a small short while, John Carroll Lynch. You guys might know him as the big boyfriend, Mimi's boyfriend in Drew Carey.
Damn.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a good movie. I enjoy the shit out of some
Fargo.
Coen Brothers stuff, so that's my number 3. Ed, what do you got? I'm lost today. Ed, who do you have at number?
Number 3, I am going with Kidnap, Halle Berry. Basically a movie about her pretty much chasing after abductors that took her son, and she does some kind of local Liam Neeson shit. So
Never seen it.
it is actually not too shabby. It may not be the best film ever, but I honestly thought it was great. I thought she done a tremendous job. So yeah, I gotta definitely recommend that one if you like these types of movies. So yeah.
Zach, what do you got at number 2?
Number 2 is the movie we're talking about today, Taken. And we'll get into that here in a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Number 2 for me is going to be from 2016, and that's Split. I think that movie, if you take out Bruce Willis at the end, that's just an awesome fucking abduction movie, and I think that's just, I mean, that's another movie where I'm stuck on the edge of my seat the entire time. I kind of wish Glass didn't follow because I just thought Glass was just weird as fuck. It didn't make my worst of the year like it did yours, Zach, but
terrible.
And a few other people's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's just like when you have Unbreakable and Split, and then that's what you end the trilogy with. It's just like, really? That you couldn't have come up with a better idea.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and watch that because I have not watched it yet. So.
But that's my number 2 is going to be Split. Ed, what do you got at number 2?
Number 2, I am kind of following up another time with Halle Berry. And this one is called The Call from 2013. Basically,
Another WWE Films.
Basically about a young girl who is basically abducted, thrown into a trunk of a car, and a large portion of this film actually takes place in the trunk of a car. She basically calls the cops because they leave her cell phone on her, and she gets told by Halle Berry, who is the lady taking the call, the switchboard operator taking the call from the or 911 operator, sorry, and she basically tells her how to help the cops find where she's at.
Did you like it?
So yeah, actually quite a bit, and I honestly thought it was really ingenious about the different little ways. Because I mean, don't get me wrong, anybody who has that certain fear or a fear of their relative should go ahead and watch that movie. Like of their relative or them getting kidnapped, should watch that movie and maybe find out a few different little things that could maybe help you in that type of a situation.
Probably.
So,
Not bad. Zach, what do you got at number 2?
I already did I'm doing number 1.
Oh, number Juan.
Yeah, number 2.
Number Juanito. What do you got at number 1, Zach?
Number 2 is Taken. Number 1, Ed, Johnny, you had it in your top 5 prisoners.
Fargo? Oh.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. I don't know how much more we could,
I really think people should just go check it out. I don't know if it's on like any streaming device or,
It's not.
It's not?
No.
No. Well, you know what? That's even better. Go out and buy the fucking movie. You know what?
Go support the
movie.
movie.
Go support the movie. It's just as good. I could have sworn I've seen it for like $5 out there today. My number 1 is going to be another one from 1996. Starring Mel Gibson, Gary Sinise. It is Ransom. Another movie involved in kidnapping and wanting money off of somebody who's pretty famous. This is one of those probably first movies that I saw as far as somebody getting kidnapped or taken. and I was probably like 7 or 8 when this movie came out. And it scared the shit out of me because a little boy gets taken, and the actually guy who, no, I don't want to spoil it because it's a good movie.
Does Mel Gibson do his rants that he does in real life in the movie?
No. But Rene Russo's also in it, and they had pretty good chemistry from the Lethal Weapon movies. And then it's always, anytime Gary Sinise is in something too, I think he's really underrated.
Lieutenant Dan.
So I'd go check it out. 1996, Ransom. Ed, what do you got at number 1?
Number 1, I'm going back to 1990, and I'm going with Misery. Kathy Bates and James Caan. So James Caan actually plays an author or novelist, basically, that is writing a book, and pretty much Kathy Bates is a former nurse and a apparent huge fan. Well, this goes over obsessive stalker mode, and she kidnaps him, basically takes him back, halfway tortures the guy because he is killing off her favorite characters. So yeah, he has to find out how to escape her, and that's what the movie tells you. So definitely a decently violent movie for that matter. And you can go ahead and see how bad an obsession with a series, book, movie, CD,
Right.
whatever can turn.
Yeah. Ed,
I'm your number 1 fan.
Right. Here's your chance. Prisoners is actually on Hulu. So if you have Hulu, you can watch it.
Cool.
Oh.
There you go.
There we go.
Hold on.
Ed, you know what your homework is this week.
Letterkenny.
With that note,
Yeah.
Zach, you're going to give us our top 4 things you didn't know about this movie, as today we are talking Taken.
Dad!
Oh, my darling. Happy birthday.
Dad, guess what? You know my friend Amanda?
Yep.
Her cousins asked us to spend vacation with them in Paris. I really, really want to go. Hi, Daddy.
You were supposed to call me when you left.
There's someone here.
What?
Oh my God, they got Amanda. They're coming.
All right, listen to me. Go to the next bedroom. Under the bed. Tell me when you're there. Now, the next part is very important. They're going to take you. I don't know who you are. I don't know what you want. If you're looking for ransom, I can tell you I don't have money. But what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I've acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like you. Where are they? If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it.
You have a 96-hour
What?
to never finding her.
No.
But if you don't, I will look for you.
Where is she?
I will find you. I will kill you.
Good luck.
Probably the best trailer that I've ever been able to find to play over the podcast. A retired CIA agent travels across Europe and relies on his old skills to save his endangered daughter, who's been kidnapped while on a trip to Paris. Zach, tell us 4 things that we probably didn't know about Taken.
All right, here we go. So number 4, probably no surprise, Liam Neeson did most of his own stunts for the film. Right. Number 3, Liam Neeson actually expected this film to bomb horribly, even though it was a huge box office success and inspired 2 more films to make a franchise. Ed, little piece of information, probably in your wheelhouse. In the Taken films, Brian's weapon of choice is a Beretta 92 FS.
Simple, usual weapon. So.
Handgun, basically.
Well, okay, it's a Beretta 92 FS.
Look what you started.
I know, I'm sorry.
Get on to number 2.
That was the former sidearm for the United States Army. So now it's the 6-hour P320, and also known as the M17.
3PO.
320.
And then the number one piece of information that I thought was interesting was Jeff Bridges was actually originally cast as Brian Mills. So that would have been a very interesting character if the dude had played Brian Mills.
Another movie you probably don't think is good. Zach.
I like The Big Lebowski. Don't start hate mail if you don't have to, John.
Starring Liam Neeson, Maggie Grace. This movie, like we said, has pretty much been taken over by memes. Also written by Luke Benson, who is the writer of movies like The Leon, The Professional, The Fifth Element. So this movie, at least to me when I watched it, had one of those feels to it. But let's get first and last reactions. If you can remember the first time you've seen it compared to this recent watch for the podcast, Zach.
Yeah, first reaction, saw it in the theater actually like a week or two before it was about to be kicked out. I thought it was incredible. It was just like a thrill ride from beginning to end, and after this last rewatch, it still holds up, even after 12 years later.
Ed, what about you?
It's just a great movie. I mean,
do you remember the first time you watched it compared to now?
Yeah, it was on TV, if I'm not mistaken. It was a few years after it actually came out, but yeah, I've watched it on TV a couple times. But yeah, I've always liked it. So yeah.
Did you like it the second time around?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, this is probably like the 8th time, but yeah, it's always a fun film. Pretty cool.
I didn't get to see this in theater. Kind of upset at myself, but bought it when it came out. I didn't think it was that good, to be honest with you. The very first time I watched it, I thought it was just...
It was kind of hyped up.
Yeah. That's one thing that you don't get when you wait and see something when it comes to home release, is you hear all this stuff about it while it's in theaters, and then you buy it and you come home and you watch it, and you're like, what's so great about that, I guess? But to me, the second time around, and the third and the fourth, and this time around for the podcast, I think it's a good action flick. I think you don't get some action movies you have in this decade without it.
Mm-hmm.
Liam Neeson, let's what else can you say about the guy? I kind of wish he had a different hairstyle in the movie. Because sometimes when he's running around, you can see that he's got like little spikes up or something. Looks like a little 12-year-old boy. But
he's a badass.
He can be.
He kicked that little 12-year-old boy's ass. I'll tell you that.
But I'm excited. The movie, starts off straight. You get the feeling of him being a single dad, and you automatically get sympathy, I guess, for the guy.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, but what about you guys? Did you feel sympathy right off the bat for him?
Oh yeah, fuck that stepdad. Fuck that bastard.
But he bought her a horse, bro.
Give a shit. Fucking spoiling her ass so she back talks a fucking government worker and shit that knows better than her little dumbass does. Probably bought them. Oh, never mind. I'm not going to go into that. But probably, spoils the shit out of both of them. So
what do you think of the cast, though? I mean, looking at it all these years later, and the cast. Besides Liam Neeson, you also have the girl. What's her name? Who plays
Famke Janssen. Who plays Jean Grey.
Jean Grey in the original X-Men movies.
Yep.
I really think that without this movie, maybe you don't get some interest for John Wick. What do you guys think? Do you guys have any kind of feeling about that watching this movie?
A little bit. I mean, not 100%, but a little bit, because, don't get me wrong, maybe they wouldn't get, so what's over there and how bad can we kind of spin it and go from there?
What about you, Zach?
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that to a certain extent. I think I wouldn't say Taken kind of set the precedent of what John Wick would become, but I think it kind of opened the doors of, up to that point we really didn't have a lot of like independent action films like this, and so this kind of opened the doors to like, hey, we don't need like a $200 million project.
Right. I mean, you hit it off the point. I do want to ask what makes independent, because this had a budget of just $25 million. Usually I hit this at the top of the episode, but and it grossed $226 million at the box office. That's big numbers for an action movie that's only took $26 million to make it. And man, but did you feel like this feels like almost like a foreign film?
Yeah,
looking at this,
a little bit.
looking at the special features. I don't know. How did you watch it over the week?
Just DVD. That I have it.
You own it?
Yeah.
I don't know if you checked out any of the special features, but a lot of the special features are in another language, and like this was a huge hit across the pond.
Yeah, I mean, I think the director's French.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost a whole French production almost.
Yeah, I know the writer Luc Benson. I don't know him, but I wish.
Well, I mean,
but I mean, he did the Professional. Have you seen that movie?
Mm-mm.
Jesus.
I've heard that's an incredible film.
Ed,
what's up?
Have you seen it?
The
Professional.
Leon the Professional.
No.
Well, we've all seen The Fifth Element.
Yes.
So, Zach, you seen The Fifth Element? Okay. You
like
once.
Had
me worried there for a minute.
Whoa.
What did you guys feel about the lunch scene where she asked him to lunch and boom, she lays it on him, and then he tells her he has to think about it, and she just jets out?
I'd kind of be pissed because to me that just says spoiled little brat. Don't get me wrong. And then on top of that, you're lying your ass off to me. I would have said, you know what? No, fuck all that.
But you would think he's got a certain set of skills. Do you think he would have been able to tell that she was lying to him right off the bat?
Not necessarily, because, I mean, don't get me wrong. Certain people are used for certain skills. I mean, not everybody's, fucking Jason Bourne or James Bond or something.
You watch your fucking mouth when it comes to James Bond and fucking Matt Damon.
What little dick bastards are they? No, I'm just kidding, guys. It's all fun and games.
I do find that this movie could probably be a lot avoided if he would have just said no and ripped at the slip and went on about his day. That's what I would have done.
So do you think this would have been like a Rambo Last Blood situation where she goes anyway and he has to go get her?
Let's do some fantasy booking. Like, we all obviously know the movie. 20 minutes into the movie, she gets abducted, and she's used for like sex trafficking, or she's going to be used, which is a very serious subject nowadays, I guess.
Yeah.
Like this movie this movie like hits home like 10 years later.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff is going on nowadays. But he has a certain amount of skills that you heard in the beginning of the trailer, and this movie, like you guys have said that this movie has been memed all over the fucking place because of his little speech that he gives all over the phone.
I am Kermit the Frog.
But I'm.
You've never heard that, have you? I'm gonna show you that after we end it.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is going downhill fast.
Give me certain set of skills.
28 minutes into the movie, you get the speech. What did you guys think about hearing that again this time around for the episode? Like during the movie, Ed, what did you think?
Honestly, it just seems like some of it's cut out of what the speech truly is. Especially when it gets plagiarized and all that and used for whatever means. But I mean, honestly, you can see the intensity on his face, so you've got to know he's taking that from somewhere. And I mean, I know a lot of actors and actresses go ahead and actually use their own lives to pretend, okay, if this was happening, how pissed would I be? How hurt would I be? Would I be happy about this or whatever it is? So it's kind of a good thing that, to draw from those certain escapades in your personal life, to use those in your professional life.
Zach, what about you? Did you appreciate the speech 28 minutes into the movie this time around?
Yeah, I think that's one of the big compliments of the movie. It's just an hour and 30 minutes. We get introduced to the characters, she gets taken, we get the speech, there, go. And from then on, it's just her. It's almost like he says, it's a ticking time clock of, I only have like 96 hours to find her or whatever.
Yeah, 96 hours. Yeah. The first time that you really see him as a badass is when he goes to the guy and
the concert scene.
Right. Yeah, that's true. The concert scene.
Mm-hmm.
Staples Center. Ironic.
There you go.
It's ironic. What did you think of that opening scene when you're like, oh shit, Liam Neeson's a badass?
Yeah, I thought it was cool. I was just like, oh damn, he does have a particular set of skills.
A lot of throat chops in this, so half of his skills are to just chop your fucking throat and make you not be able to breathe.
There you go.
And then locate your pancreas and beat the shit out of that for a minute or so to that Peter guy.
This is a podcast about movies, not Peter, sir.
Well, I mean, Peter was getting his ass kicked in the cab, so. You know.
What do you also think of the scene where he dang
it.
Where he ends up going to the place where, help me out here. Pretty much, he has the recording of "Good Luck" in your mind.
Oh, where he goes to their apartment and
right.
he goes in and
can
searches.
you say this shop? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool, but he's mainly what he's going through right there is to try and
find the voice.
Well, not really find the voice, but see what because okay, you find a little hair follicle on the mirror, which nothing was done with that, so there's that. No lead, no trace, no mention, none of it was done with that. FYI. He goes and he's seeing what his daughter's seen, what she went through, why this happened, how this happened, and going from there. So basically, to be in her mind and to maybe even be in their mind, he's trying to see what happened. Is all that truly is.
Mm-hmm.
But on top of that, the acoustics of the room, you know, because apparently he has a pretty good trained ear, so he's judging by the acoustics of the room where it relatively was. So. Which, I mean, when you look at the film, of course, yeah, you know, the director and Liam Neeson seen exactly how everything happened to her, but they place each other in the same relative spot. So,
do you think Liam Neeson got into the action game a little bit late in his career?
Well, you know,
after this movie, I
was going to bring that up because I actually, you know, before he did Taken, he did, you know, he was in the Chronicles of Narnia. Wait, he was Aslan, the lion, but you know, still, it's an action film.
Voice.
He was Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins, and then he was in Kingdom of Heaven. Do you remember that movie, the Ridley Scott like Crusades movie? But then afterwards, it was just like, go, you know. It was
Taken 2, Taken 3, Nonstop, Unknown, The Gray,
Clash of the Titans, Wrath of the Titans,
Run All Night.
He got a taste.
Battleship,
The A-Team,
The Dark Knight Rises.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think so, because I mean he's probably made a small fortune off of all those movies easily. I don't really think it's a bad thing that he got into it a little bit later.
Monster Calls. Have you seen that? I think that's a very, very underrated film. Even though he's not really in it, he just provides one of the voices.
Let's talk about that voice, because he's got a very good set of skills, and it's the voice.
Mm-hmm.
I was making a pitch all winter and spring, because when I heard about the Lion King remake, I was like, dude, he would be a great Mufasa.
Yes.
Why, when you reboot that movie, how awesome would it have been to have Liam Neeson as Mufasa? And then when I found out they're doing James Earl Jones again, I'm like, that's fine, you know, that's cool. But you're rebooting it. You're trying to get away from what you were doing. And I thought Liam Neeson's voice as Mufasa or somebody like that would have been fucking amazing.
Well, I mean, he has that specific voice, a very unique voice. And I mean, he's
it's
almost
intimidating.
Yeah.
Well, I would say almost Morgan Freeman-esque.
No.
What I'm saying is it's a very... You can tell exactly who it is. You don't need... You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but not only can you tell who it is, but I think his voice, unlike Morgan Freeman's voice, is demanding.
Yeah.
He can say a speech and...
He can actually perform emotion through his voice.
Right.
Which, I mean, a lot of actors can, and Morgan Freeman can as well, but he just adds
But it's nowhere near as intimidating as Liam Neeson.
No, he just adds the grit to it, basically,
right?
Because he's got that bit of scratch behind there. So, I mean, it's kind of like, okay, this dude's serious as shit. Like, he's not just talking. Okay, well, good luck, you know?
Right.
Not only that, like the dude can also act his ass off, doing something like Schindler's List, and that was like way early on in his career. So to me, I don't know. I enjoyed some of his body of work as well. He's also got some I guess kind of better movies coming out hopefully in the next few years. I know he was in what one that was pretty good. The Commuter was good. Did you see that one?
Mm-hmm. The train one.
Yeah.
It wasn't too
bad.
I thought that one was good.
So he's still in some pretty big movies.
Yeah. But I just don't think
Widows is also underrated, I think.
Yeah, yeah, he's in that too. I forgot. I just kind of think that people are kind of, they're not over, but I think they're kind of getting tired of the Liam Neeson gig because his movies just haven't made as much money.
Typecast type.
Yeah.
Well, you know
he's
what,
just
though?
the same character.
I'd say that for a lot of different, especially even more in comedy for that matter. Because, I mean, like, Melissa McCarthy practically plays the same fucking thing over and over and over and over. And, I mean, yeah, hers have kind of started bombing themselves, so there's that.
But she at least goes out of her element when she does stuff like The Kitchen.
Right.
True.
When it comes to, like, comedy, Will Ferrell's, he pops in my head. Like, some of his stuff is just like,
It's the same
really,
thing.
dude, same fucking thing.
Yeah.
But see, I mean, don't get me wrong, that probably forced her to do that because she was seeing that was happening, so, or her and her team seeing that was happening, so she probably was like...
a lot of her comedy movies, though, are always big at the box office.
Yeah.
Ever since she did, what's that, Bridesmaids. Like, all her movies, she might be the same, but she was kicking out movies like The Heat, Tammy, all that stuff was getting big at the box office.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, have you seen any of those? Spy? She's pretty good in Spy.
I've seen all you mentioned except for Spy.
Spy?
I've
Spy's
not
probably
seen
best.
Spy. I truthfully, it just kind of is bland tasting to me. I'd rather see Will Ferrell as, I mean, honestly, I want to see Talladega Nights again. I want to see, some stuff like that. But see, don't get me wrong, to me, it's just the same thing, but with Melissa McCarthy to me. I mean, in all honesty, she just leaves a bland taste in my mouth that's just kind of like, okay, I'd rather switch gears, go somewhere else. I want to go fast.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, it's just, I mean, that's, you've got a lot of actors and actresses, for that matter, who get typecast like that. Or, the damsel in distress, or the big badass that can take on anybody and beat up anybody, or the guy who's the smart guy. And that's
but like Zach was saying, like Liam Neeson, some of Liam Neeson's movies probably aren't making the money because, I mean, the ones that are coming out in 2017, 2018, guess what? When movies like that come out, nobody wants to go see it because they're going to go see Avengers.
But see, part of me thinks that
if you kind of want to look at it that way, everybody's movies, when it comes to, oh man, he was a big action star 10 years ago. I mean, Stallone, The Terminator, those movies aren't making the money anymore because of movies like this, like the Avengers, like Star Wars.
No, we went and saw Terminator Dark Fate, and it was... Do you remember anything about that movie?
Yeah, I mean, it comes out tomorrow. I'm excited to kind of rewatch it again.
But we had a... I wouldn't say that...
The theater was kind of packed.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that the movie is not making money, but it's not making the money that it should be making, if that makes sense.
When you put a movie up on a pedestal, I mean, the name itself, Terminator, yeah, you're thinking $100 million, or $200, $300, $400, $500, $800 million. Nowadays, a movie like that, what does it have to make to be successful? If it's a $500 budget or a $500 million budget, guess what? It's got to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
There's no way there's no way that a movie nowadays that's not Disney or Marvel is not going to make $1 billion.
Well, I mean, so far, if I'm not mistaken, it said $502 million so far with Star Wars, and it's been out almost 2 months, about 7 weeks. But I mean, I think it's a bit more of story wise, for that matter. Either
compared to what? Like, what are you talking about?
Okay, so everybody has loved the culmination, basically, of the Avengers. All of this is ending an arc and ending several different arcs, and then bringing new ones to light. And then everybody knows that different stuff's going to happen. But with let's say, I mean, okay, there's John Wick as well. That one is still kind of I think it's lost a bit of its force or its push, but it's still got that same taste to it. But it's a decent story. It's continuing the same story. It's still going and all that. So I mean, I think it's just because you can have a great actor, actors and actresses for that matter, but crap story, director don't know how to do what he should do.
But we're talking about movies not making money that on paper you feel like it should make money.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
How can you tell that it's not a good story if you're not going to go give it a chance?
And I mean, on top of that...
You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to say something like Terminator, or something like, not even Terminator, something that made decent amount of money this year but didn't hit $1 billion? How are you going to say that doesn't have a decent story if you're not willing to take the money to go see it?
Well, I mean, that's another thing right there. Because we used to always go by promotional value. Maybe the promo team shit at their job basically.
A great example of that is Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise movie. Made no money, but like it's a very good action film.
Right.
So I mean, don't get me wrong. If they don't, I mean, that's what we've said for a while now. It hasn't been said in a little bit, but either way, if your production team or promotion team doesn't do shit for you, then guess what?
Oh, perfect example. Next week's movie, Gemini Man.
Right.
You know what? On paper, it looks like it should make $1 billion. Ang Lee, Will Smith, huge budget. But guess what? If you don't take the money to go see it and you just want to shit on it because of the reviews, it's not going to make money. And then there's going to be even worse reviews to read about it. And then nobody's going to want to go see it.
I mean,
go see the fucking movie.
That's what's wrong with a lot of horror movies today is that they show at least 80% of the good stuff in the actual trailer.
That's what's wrong with every movie nowadays. When did we talk about that last week?
Yeah.
Or we talked about off mic?
Yeah.
Every trailer you see nowadays is 3.5 minutes long. You don't need a 3-4 minute trailer. Show me 90 seconds, you're done. You don't need.
You've done your job. You don't have to oversell it to me.
The new Quiet Place 2 trailer is a perfect example. I guarantee you half of the stuff that they shown you in that trailer is going to be most of the pop-up stuff. I think that first 30 seconds that they shown you, that very first teaser trailer, that's all you fucking needed.
Yeah, I mean, all you need is Emily Blunt and the kids walking, and
she steps on a twig,
and that's it.
Yeah.
You know what's going to happen.
Exactly.
That first teaser trailer, that one was perfect.
Yeah,
that one was great because
now they're releasing 3.5-4 minute trailers. We talked about it. The trailer for Invisible Man is 3 hours and 45 seconds, or 3 minutes and 45 seconds.
Damn trailer.
The whole damn movie.
3 minutes and 45 seconons.
Yeah, I'm just
and it shows you almost everything. I'm pretty sure, and I'm sure the movie's only an hour and 45 minutes.
Yeah, and you're wondering to yourself like, what other surprises could there possibly be?
And that's why movies have so-called quotation mark pacing issues, because you see all the fun stuff in the trailer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They were really bad with that with Will Smith's movie.
Yeah.
Especially with in this mid part of his career with I Am Legend and iRobot and all them. It was just like they showed all the action sequences, and when you watch the movie, you're just like, well, I've seen all this.
And I think
I could just go home and watch the trailer.
That's how Gemini Man is. No offense to that movie. I think it's a good movie. It's nowhere near the shit that people give it. And we'll talk about it next week. But I really think that that's what happened with Gemini Man. Every single trailer you saw some of the big action sequences. It gave away the big twist in the trailer.
Yep.
You know that there's a young agent out there who looks just like him. What the fuck?
Because I mean, don't get me wrong, you could.
We're having a great conversation, but I know we're away from Taken right now. But we're still early into the episode, but we're having a great conversation about how movies like Taken aren't like you said, some of Liam Neeson's movies nowadays aren't making a lot of money. And I think it's just because, we're getting into it now.
Well, I mean, the thing is with Gemini Man, all you had to do was release the fact that it was the older Will Smith, and that, you could have done silhouettes instead of the actual showing his face and all that stuff. And, at the end, because this would have been good. At the end of that chase scene, instead of actually showing the younger him, stop it right there. Just cut it. And then don't show who the hell he catches up to. And then just have, him talking to that director or whatever, and you did me wrong or something like that. And boom. I'm like, oh, shit.
What makes you want to go out and see some of these new movies? We've talked about it before in this episode, probably until we're blue in the face. What makes you want to take $8-9.50 and go see something?
Honestly,
do you try to stay away from trailers?
Not really. I don't mind unless it's something I'm really, really, really wanting to see. But then again, sometimes I like to research a bit too much, and I delve in a little bit too much.
So, like It Chapter 2, you said it yourself. You saw, you were trying to stay away from a lot of online stuff.
Because I know a lot with a lot of horror films that it shows 75 to 85% of the stuff on the trailer. So I was like, no, I want to be impacted directly because of that.
Perfect example. Will Smith fan right in front of me. Ed loves Will Smith. Big old portrait of him in his room and everything. Why didn't you go see Gemini Man?
honestly, it did kind of give everything away. And I mean, yeah, not everything. I haven't seen it yet. I'm actually gonna watch it here soon. But
I hope so. The episode's in 5 days.
Well, right. But I haven't had the funds
Right.
lately. I've had to
Take that away. You know, right? Take all that out. Is there still just, you know, a big reason, or is it just like I'm not, you know, because that came out around the same time It Chapter 2 did.
Yeah.
No, it came out a month after It Chapter 2. It was like around the same time of Zombieland Double Tap.
They came out. Oh, so it came out in October.
Yeah.
But I mean, basically, I didn't go see that one. I felt it gave way too much away in the trailer, and it's not necessarily that I'm shitting on the movie or anything like that. I'll probably like the movie because I mean, don't get me wrong, and I want you to finish before I say. But I mean, I liked Wild Wild West way back in the day, and I mean, don't get me wrong, that's one of the first Will Smith films that I've ever seen. That and Men in Black 2, and I can't remember which one was first.
Right.
So there you go. But I mean, I still will watch that to this day and like it, you know. And yeah, I know it's cheesy, kind of horrible, but still, either way, it's just.
But he gets your rocks off.
Value. Right, and I think it's funny and kind of stupid in ways, but it's just, I think the promotional value has gone down because they try and lure you in too hard, and you've got to think like Jaws. The movie didn't even freaking show the shark for an hour, practically. So, I mean, don't get me wrong, that's the movie. So they definitely, and I haven't seen the original, because it was way before any of our times, but I haven't seen the original trailer that gone on back then. But...
Well, you're talking, Johnny, trailers back then were like 3-4 minutes long.
Yeah.
Like when Jaws came out. And so they probably gave away the whole film. But the reason you love Jaws is because it's not because of the shark, it's because of the atmosphere of the film.
Yeah.
It's just, you're like, what, you know, the shark's going to pop out any minute. It doesn't, but it builds up the suspense of anything can happen.
Because, I mean, essentially they're in the shark's territory.
Right.
Yeah, they're this boat, but still they're in the shark's territory. The water, the ocean, simple. So, I mean, exactly like you just said, the shark can do whatever the hell it wants.
Taken back now, you know, we got into this debate and this conversation pretty much because, you know, some of Liam Neeson's recent movies
don't hit as hard at the box office.
Right, and then that got me kind of hot and small little rant about, you know, I don't think there's a lot of movies nowadays that are hot at the box office.
No.
And it's...
Bad Boys 3 is killing it right now because it's a sequel, but it's also, you know, one of the only really good things that people want to go see right now.
And I'm happy that it's making the money because guess what? It's Columbia Pictures, it's Sony, it's not Disney, it's not Marvel, you know.
Giving a little bit of the cash cow to someone else.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to hear about it too, but I read a review the other day that was like, I think superhero movies are so last decade, and they were like, I think it's kind of time to move on, you know.
Well, we'll see here, not this week, but the next Birds of Prey is coming out. And that's not really so much a superhero film, but it's in, like, the genre.
Right.
Well, I mean, on top of that, we've got... I think one coming out later this year.
We have a lot coming out this year. It's
Black Widow and the Eternals.
Morbius.
Yeah.
I think the Eternals will see truly how, because I mean Morbius, maybe not.
The Eternals is the one that kind of has to reinvent the game, see what's going to happen next.
It's technically going to start off like a new type of Avengers kind of deal, because if I'm not mistaken, that's the big bad going into the story in this next phase.
And then I heard that they might reboot and bring Thanos back for the Eternals because something about timelines and stones. I'm just kind of done with. I don't know.
Move on to the next bigger badder or different baddie.
I don't think it's the DC in me, but I don't mind something like Birds of Prey because I know at least DC is only once a year or every other year. This year, with the exception, we got Wonder Woman as well.
Oh yeah.
But they're not. I don't think DC is overdoing it.
No.
Right. But I mean, like
Marvel was doing almost 3 a year plus two, you know, Star Wars or 2. No.
But I mean, like it was, you know, it's due time for Wonder Woman 2. That was technically supposed to come out November of last year, but you know they pushed it to give it more time and to make the movie good. And that's fine.
I was about to say, I think that's more of a smart move. For that matter.
I got Wonder Woman today actually. Nice little
Blu-ray package.
Little thing. But no, stuff like that I'm fine with because I know that DC's pushing stuff out every other year. You know, they've learned their lesson, I guess you can say.
Yeah.
But let's get back to Taken for a little bit. You guys have any extra, fun scenes that you want to talk about as far as when it comes to Taken and Liam Neeson?
I'm gonna say going through the Sheik's house or apartment or whatever that abode was. Him going through and at first it's stealth, kills, and then all of a sudden it kind of just shits on itself, and he's got to go with the bad, and he gets sliced up a little bit here and there, and I think shot once, maybe twice. But he gets to the Sheik, and the Sheik's got a knife to his daughter's throat, and he's kind of like, just let her go, dumbass. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna get your ass before you slice her throat. So what the hell?
What about you, Zach?
Really any time that Liam Neeson is kind of, you think, oh, this is it. Like, we're watching the scene where he is like tied up to a in the back of like the rich dude's house, and like
tied up to a pole.
Yeah, he's tied up to a pole, and they're about to like strangle him to death, and it was just like the little his innate ability to just focus on like the little things, and that's how he gets out of the situation. I think that's what makes that character great. And like you said, it's followed up by the boat sequence where he's just like killing guys left and right to get to the final boss, basically.
Yeah.
And then, we're probably not going to do an episode of these. What's your guys' take on Taken 2 and Taken 3?
I'm glad you said that. I've only seen Taken 3 once.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually going to revisit it this week because, hey, why not?
I haven't seen it forever.
Yeah. And then Taken 2...
I think Taken 2 is a lot smarter than people give it credit for. Not to say what I call it like an incredible film, no, but I think it's a fun sequel that, why I don't know why they just wouldn't call it Taken 2 TOO instead of 2, the number 2. I think it was smart that they in the sequel that he and the wife gets taken and the daughters kind of have to figure out a way to get them back.
Well, because two of them are taken.
Right.
So,
but he's taken instead.
But it's been a while since I've seen either of those, to be fully honest.
Ask me next week. I'm going to rewatch them this week for you, and we'll talk about it a little bit next week.
Okay.
What about Liam Neeson himself? Do you guys have any extra movies or some special performances that pop out and make you want to be like, you know what? I appreciate what he does as an actor. Mine's going to be Schindler's List.
Yeah, you took mine, but it's okay.
You say Schindler's List. I mean,
no.
Let's talk about it.
But he's
just like I kind of listened to the best 2019 a few weeks ago, and Ed had mentioned Zach had mentioned he thought the best actor was Joaquin Phoenix, but didn't want to mention it because he thought me and Ed might talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
I say fuck stuff like that. If we all three agree on the same thing, let's have a big awesome conversation about it. I think Schindler's List, we both think it's a good movie. There's a reason why, because it's epic. It's fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Based on a real story and
yeah,
such things.
I mean it's hard. I mean, like anyone that's never seen Schindler's List, what are you doing?
You can probably find it anywhere now. Libraries probably have them galore.
Exactly. But I mean, it's not a film for the faint of heart, obviously, due to the subject matter it's dealing with.
But I think it's a film everybody needs to see.
Yeah, at least once. I would agree with that.
Especially some of the shit we're going through today.
Yeah. But, honestly, it's also, he doesn't get a lot of credit, but, his performance in as Ra's al Ghul in the Dark Knight trilogy. Well, yeah. the Batman Begins and the Dark Knight Rises. I think he can play a very good villain when given the chance, because he's always playing like the underdog good guy. But like something like the Batman Begins, or even to a certain extent the Lego Movie, I think his ability to perform either a good or a bad guy can transcend the picture that you're watching almost. So.
Ed, what about you?
So I've always liked him with Taken. Ra's al Ghul definitely was a good character for him. I thought that was great. On top of that, I've always liked the Qui-Gon Jinn he brought to the screen, and I
Mhm.
definitely wanted more of that. I definitely did, because honestly, I've always wondered what it'd be like.
No, I'm agreeing with you. Like, I don't understand like why, if you're gonna do a new trilogy, you kill him off at the end of the first movie.
So I always wondered what would it have been like if he got to Padawan Anakin instead of Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan just grew into kind of what he was, but beforehand. Because he didn't have to train Anakin. He was already going to be.
I think they did that just for shits and giggles because there's no mention of him in 4, 5, or 6.
Mm-hmm.
So like, why not? Same thing with Darth Maul. Like, he was such a badass character, but killed him off in the first one. There's no mention of him. You don't need him. You know, you do hear of Anakin and you do hear of Obi-Wan. So, you know, let's build their relationship and their on-screen time. That way, when you rewatch Episode 4, you're like, there it is.
Right.
Part of me has been thinking about that, though, for a little bit. And if I'm not... I know this is a lot of fantasy booking for that matter. But if I'm not mistaken, I think it would be because Qui-Gon Jinn would have been too much like a father figure instead of a brother. And Anakin may not have actually been that susceptible to the dark side after that, just because Qui-Gon Jinn would have put him in his place and been like, look, just because you get on the council doesn't mean anybody needs to do that. So, shut up and sit down or walk out of the room and you don't have to be on it at all. What is your pick? To where Obi-Wan kind of just let Mace Windu handle it instead of doing that. So, but either way, we're talking Taken, not that. But, as far as Liam Neeson goes, he's always, like we talked earlier, he's always got that unique voice, and that the first syllable, basically, you already know who it is. You already know who it is.
If I had to pick, probably one of my favorite scenes would probably be that first scene where he shows up at the taxi, and he like forces
beats the hell out of the guy. Yeah,
the dude runs off and eventually gets hit by a truck, or the inside when he's invited to dinner and he shoots that dude's wife in the arm. I thought that was a pretty good scene. I like that.
The electroshock therapy scene was pretty intense right there. I mean, the intensity between both actors was just incredible. So.
But yeah, other than that, I think it was a pretty good, some pretty good scenes. But guys, let's give some star ratings. Unless you have anything else to add to the show, Zach.
No, I'm good.
I'm gonna give it a 7. I think it's a good action flick. I think it hits hard. It still lives up to some good action today. Some small nitpicks, nothing to really bitch about. Performances, action is good. Suspense. So I'd have to give it a 7. Ed, what about you?
I'd say an 8, honestly, because I always like this. Because it shows a little bit of what he used to go and, actually find out where, how, why, and all this, and then, he uses that information to kind of fuck with them, and they're just like, who is this guy, and how the hell does he know, what our name is, what that guy's name is, and where he's from, and different stuff like that. So, I mean, I think it's pretty cool just to have that little bit of showing out there, so I've got to give it an 8.
Zach, what about you?
I'm gonna go one step above. I'm gonna give it a 9. I think it's a very good action film. I think it's worthy of the reputation. Well, except for the memes. I think the memes have kind of gone out of hand, but
they always do.
But I think it's a worthy. It's a worthy film that here and we've already done 12. It's hard to believe that it's been out for 12 years. Really.
Really, I was talking about with Ed last week. Casino Royale's older.
Yeah, 2006.
Yeah,
but I mean, like it's just kind of crazy that this film has been out that long, and people obviously know what it is, and I mean it's got a good reputation, and I'm proud of it, and that's good.
Yeah.
So like I said, it's kind of opened the doors to films like John Wick and probably films that we wouldn't be watching today.
I'm gonna go ahead and go through some of the emails again. You guys can find us on the Facebook at facebook.com/movie reels REELZ 405, or just Facebook search us. The Cine-Men Movie Podcast, we pop right up. The Instagram, you can follow recent watches at one word, the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. The Twitter is at Cine-Men405. And then you can send in emails. People send us emails all the time. It is CINEMEN 921@gmail.com. So I'm going to read some here right quick, and you guys can go ahead and find us out. I don't have that many. I'm not going to go through a lot this week. Coco Crisp says, what's your best Liam Neeson movie? I think we kind of already touched on that.
Yep.
Anonymous says Terminator Dark Fate episode. Maybe. Sam G69 says, I love all y'all's interaction with everybody. I personally would like to hear your thoughts on The Parasite. What do you guys think about that?
I have not seen it.
We're gonna, well, at least John, I think you should watch it, Ed. Just, cultural difference of the film. We're gonna watch it at least before the Oscars, because I'm curious. Because if that wins Best Picture, a lot of people, that's like, I've heard that's the underdog of the year.
I don't think it is, though. Everything that 1917 is in has won every award. The SAGs,
yeah,
everything it's been in, it's won Best Picture.
I mean, it's definitely gonna win Best Foreign Film, obviously, but I mean that'd be a huge upset if that won Best Picture.
Julia says, what makes the episode a special? Like, how do you guys decide what to review? I don't know what's special about it, but it really just depends on really. We kind of talk amongst each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ed said, anniversaries or something new that's hot that somebody wants to hear. Pretty much trending, I guess.
I mean, it's kind of like, look at the Star Wars. We did 8 and 9 back to back, and I mean, those were some of our highest episodes still to this date. And I think that helped boost our numbers up a little bit. So, I mean,
what's really cool about this thing is every week is topping the last week, which is it's fun, it's exciting. So
well, and I'm kind of thinking about the month of February. We're doing Gemini Man, which is a recent Blu-ray release. We're gonna do Birds of Prey, which is a theatrical release. I think we're going to do Ford versus Ferrari, which will hit Blu-ray that week or the week before. Yeah. And then rounding out the month is the 10th anniversary of Shutter Island.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a combination of different things.
Which is fun, I guess. When we started this podcast, everything was like, had been out for a while. And I think, we had started doing some newer releases. And
before I came along, did you guys just want to do like a horror movie podcast?
No.
It wasn't that. We were just doing horror because that's what both of us really liked, and we just.
And I mean, the podcast launched. When we found out the release date was going to be, first week of September, we're like, hey, let's do the first 2 months nothing but horror movies.
Because both of us are passionate about those, love those, so we were just going, yeah, let's kick it, let's try and dig up and try and grow it. Because I mean, honestly.
But that's where I did get my first taste of being burnt out. I don't know about you, Ed, but like.
Oh no, yeah, we both talked about it.
First week of November of that year, we were like, "Ooh, let's do a different movie," because I am burnt out on horror movies.
Because I mean, actually, I think we talked about it either the first or second week of November, and then that's why we shortened it up a little bit just this past year.
And I think next year is going to be even more shorter. Like I think this horror season coming up is just going to be the month of October. So.
Well, 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, we can decide.
Because I think there's 4 or 5 Mondays in October. So I don't know. But yeah, I mean we just pretty much we're in a group text. So if anybody ever has any like extra ideas, we'll pop it through or stuff like that. But usually there's a really good reason why we picked one of the movies we did.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, sometimes it just.
But also some of the movies that we just randomly go with that are out of a hiccup. Some of those are the funnest episodes, like Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, a lot of people were
requesting that
over email.
Yeah.
And that was a big hit, and then I mean we've sometimes even switched up at the last second, and, not last second, but within a couple days to the episode. So. And
I'll tell you right now, like I'm still kind of iffy. Well, next week for sure. Next week was going to be Suicide Squad because of how many emails we've gotten about it. Like, hey, I want to hear y'all's thoughts about Suicide Squad because it's such a diverse film.
Yeah,
people love it or people fucking hate it. And then Birds of Prey is the next week. So I think we're gonna do Gemini Man. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be Gemini Man. But
it's going to be a Will Smith movie.
There you go.
Sure.
There you go.
He's gonna have something to do with the movie.
Jessica wants to say, who's y'all's favorite assassin movie? If you guys had to pick a character assassin.
It's a little hard.
It is hard.
To be fully honest, I mean, because you've got. Well, I mean, I guess right now, if you really want to go technical assassin, just off the top of my head, I'd say John Wick. 2, for that matter. I think 2 is. I think
whoever played the assassin in the Lincoln movie. That's probably what I would. No, I'm just messing with you. Yeah, that's a little too serious. Really,
Spielberg's Lincoln movie.
Over 100 years, and you guys still can't do it.
I mean, it's too.
I don't know if he's an assassin, but if I had to pick, I'd throw Jason Bourne in there. I think Jason Bourne. I think those are some fun movies.
You might be able to consider that. Yeah.
I don't know that.
Deadshot from Suicide Squad.
I don't know. I guess you could say Denzel Washington's character in Safe House. He's technically
or even Equalizer.
The Equalizer. Yeah, you could say that.
There you go. Next week we are gonna do Gemini Man. Like I said, I really want to kind of talk Suicide Squad.
Do you want to do Suicide Squad?
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe
just put on the schedule Will Smith movie. We don't know which one we're gonna do yet.
Or you know what? Let's throw up a poll.
We haven't done a poll in a while. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do a poll. Let's do Suicide Squad versus Gemini Man, and we'll just randomly talk about the movie that doesn't win. We'll kind of give a little talk about in the recent watches.
Okay.
So, other than that, I think we're gonna go ahead and put an early stamp on Taken. Next week, definitely recent watches. I'm going to talk to you guys about Taken 2 and 3, and then the loser of the poll. So,
nice.
Sounds good.
What about you guys? Any homework for me? No. Not at the moment.
No.
We might even be able to talk some Parasite. Who knows?
Oh, one last thing before we get out of here. Super Bowl. Who's your pick?
Oh, I forgot. There is a little game on this weekend.
I don't know if you've heard of it.
San Francisco 49ers, 31-29.
It's a hard pick because the old additive stays true. Defense does win championships. I've seen some of the greatest offensive creative creations go down hard, and real hard. I'm pulling for the Chiefs, though, even being a Broncos fan for that matter. But then again, I do want to see. I wouldn't mind Andy Reid getting one, but I wouldn't mind Shanahan getting one either.
I think it'd be one of the first son-father duos to have Super Bowls.
Yeah. You know what? Screw it. I'm on your side. I'm going 49ers.
You get a score?
I'm gonna give them a little bit more. I'm gonna go ahead and go 34-20. 34-21.
Zach?
I don't
know. I'll be the opposite end of the spectrum.
You'll pick the Chiefs?
Yeah, I'll be the Chiefs winning against the 49ers.
Watch. Well, he's gonna end up winning. Watch.
Essentially right now you've got Jimmy G going against Patrick Mahomes,
but that's the thing. I'm not basing my thing on characteristics of the game. That's the only person I know is Patrick Mahomes.
Which is, it's fine. It's the biggest game of the year. I'm sure some of our eyes are going to be on it next Sunday.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll be talking a lot about the movie trailers that they're going to show.
Trailers, commercials.
I'll be at work.
Good for you.
Oh God.
YouTube it.
We had to. I think the 2015 Super Bowl we were working at the Warren. No. I'm almost certain.
2015. Because that was Super Bowl 50, right?
I don't know.
Pretty sure.
Oh no. January 2015 was New England beating the Seahawks.
Right. Okay, that was the one right before, and then after.
You might have been off or something. I remember working at the Warren during that time.
Yeah.
Either way, If next week we might if Suicide Squad wins, our top 5 next week might be our top 5 Super Bowl commercials of the night of that night. So if Gemini Man wins, we'll probably talk our top 5 Will Smith movies.
There you go.
So throw up a poll. You guys can find that poll on Facebook.com/MovieReels405 or just Facebook search the Cine-Men Movie Podcast. Ed, Zach, you guys add anything else?
That'd be it. This is Zach signing out.
This is Edward saying I'll see you on the silver screen.
And the poll will also be on the Twitter at Cine-Men405. But check out that Facebook. You can find the poll right there. Gemini Man or Suicide Squad. Check it out. And we will talk to you next week right here on the Cine-Men Movie Podcast.